Today in our 2015 Lincoln MKX, we're going to be installing Roadmaster's XL baseplate kit, part number 4408-1. A baseplate is one of 5 major components needed to properly flat tow your vehicle, the others being a tow bar, safety cables, a braking system, and wiring for your taillights. This baseplate is going to allow you to connect your vehicle behind your motorhome so you can tow it with you wherever you go. The baseplate is going to install behind the bumper, so you're only going to be able to see the tube sticking out that you see here. This will be the interface that your tow bars will connect to. You can pick up many different tow bar styles here at etrailer.com. Located here at the bottom of the tube is a place to hook up your safety chain. Included with it, you're going to receive some small safety chain extensions. And this will help keep the safety chain away from your vehicle so it won't cause any damage to the front of your fascia. Coming out of the tubes on your baseplate is the quick disconnect that is included with the baseplate. This is where your tow bars hook up, but you can remove these by pulling the pins and get those out to have a more flush, cleaner look when you're not towing it behind your motorhome. Additionally, on the side here, there's a small loop where you can place a padlock to ensure that your quick disconnects don't walk away from your vehicle. We'll begin our installation at the front of the vehicle with the hood open. We'll need to remove the 2 bolts located here in the front using a 10mm socket. We'll then need to remove the 6 push pins located across the top. We'll use a Phillips head screwdriver to screw out the center of the push pin, and then you can just pop that push pin out. Now on our fender well, we're going to find 3 screws we're going to need to remove. We'll use a 5.5mm socket to remove those. We're going to do this on each side. Now underneath, on the driver's side, we're going to remove 2 more bolts with a 5.5mm socket. We're going to do that on the other side as well. Underneath in the center, you'll find 3 pins that we'll need to remove using a flat-bladed screwdriver or a trim panel remover tool. You'll want to pop out the center of the pin first, and then you can pull the rest of the pin out. We'll now pull back the bottom of our fender liner and disconnect our fog lights if our model has those equipped. You'll need to pull outward on the tab to release it, and it'll pull down. And we're going to repeat that on the other side as well. We can now remove our fascia. We'll start on one side by popping out the edge. Back in the center, we can kind of pull outward on the bottom and just lift our fascia away. Double check for any wiring you may have missed. If there's none, you can just safely set it aside where it won't get damaged. We'll now want to put some supports in place for your radiator support. Once we take off our bumper beam, that can drop down and cause some damage to some components. So you can use a jack stand. We're using a jack stand and a piece of wood on the bottom side and a bungee cord on top. If you have any other kind of straps or beam you can lay across, just about anything you have, as long as you keep it from dropping down too low, you'll be okay. Now on each side, we're going to remove the nuts located here at the bottom, just below our bumper that goes into our core support. On each side, we're going to remove the 2 bolts located on the top of the bumper and 1 bolt located below it. We're going to use a 13mm socket to remove those. And then you'll find 1 bolt located above your bumper. We're going to remove that on each side. Now you can remove your bumper beam. And we'll set that aside. Now on both sides, we need to trim our air deflector. We're going to trim it here and at the bottom. We'll now need to trim off the flange here on our passenger side. Gone ahead and marked it with a yellow paint stick. We're just going to cut that off with our Dremel. We're going to put some red Loctite on the factory bolts that we removed from the top of the bumper beam. And we're going to be putting red Loctite on all the bolts that we're going to be using to install our base plate. We'll now put our base plate frame in place. This is going to replace where our bumper core used to go. Line up the holes in the top of your base plate frame with your existing weld nuts that we removed from our bumper core. And we're going to thread the bolts in the top that we removed right back into place. Next, we'll take the medium-sized bolts that come in the kit. We're going to slide on a block washer, followed by a flat washer. And we're going to install those in the lower holes of our base plate. And this will thread right into that factory weld nut. Now we're going to reinstall the factory bolts we removed from the core support. There were 2 bolts on top, 1 on each side, and there are 2 bolts on bottom on each side. These ones have studs. We can now go back and tighten down all of our hardware. And then torque all of your hardware to the specifications found in your instructions. We'll now need to use our base plate as a template and enlarge the holes in the frame for each hole on each side. We're going to use a 1/2 inch drill bit to enlarge them. And now, just like I got the one up here, we're going to take our largest bolts that come in the kit, place on a lock washer. We'll then use a spacer between the frame and our base plate. We're going to slide the bolt through the base plate, spacer, and frame. There are 2 spacers that come in your kit, 1 inch and 3/4. You want to use the best fit, and you can grind those if necessary. On the inside, we'll put our nut plate and thread the bolt into that. And now we can go back and tighten down all of our hardware using a 19mm socket and wrench. Then go back and torque those bolts to the specifications found in your instructions. We'll now need to trim out our fascia so that it'll fit. On our grill portion here, just past the tab here, we're going to need to cut kind of a circular shape out. We're just going to use a pair of snips to cut that. We'll do that on both sides. You'll now just want to set your fascia back into place and make sure you've trimmed it out. And everything's going to fit. If it does all fit properly, you can just reinstall your fascia in reverse order from how we took it off. Now, if you're doing a complete flat toe setup, I recommend leaving your fascia off and installing any other components that you may have ordered. And that completes our installation of Roadmaster's XL baseplate kit on our 2015 Lincoln MKX.